Hello, my name is Kimberly Wilson, and thanks so much for tuning in to Tranquility du Jour TV. Today I wanted to show you 5 of my favorite yoga poses: downward facing dog, standing forward fold, Baddha konasana, Pigeon, le Pigeon, and seated forward fold. So these are the 5 I'm going to take you through. They don't need to be done in any particular order. They can be done whenever you're so inclined at home, or if you wanted to put them all together, that's great too. The idea is just to get a little dose of tranquility into every day. So I'm going to start with downward facing dog because that's kind of like the pose that is constantly linked in a vinyasa class, and it just feels really good. And it's the one you see all the time on TV, so you'll be somewhat familiar with it. So for downward facing dog, you can begin here in table pose. So coming onto hands and knees, spreading fingers nice and wide, knees underneath the hips, then take the knees a little behind the hips, curl the toes under, and lift your hips up and back. Again, fingers spread wide, release the head and the neck, shaking the head and neck yes and no. Then you can also pedal the feet back and forth. And then notice too if your body's doing this, which is more like a U, we want a V. So bend your knees, pull your hips back, straighten the spine, release the head, and then maybe straighten the legs. And now for a standing forward fold, walk your feet forward, open your feet hip width apart. And then rest the hands into the crook of the arms and sway from side to side. So this is one that can be done in the cubicle, at the office, at the grocery store. Maybe you're getting something out of the bottom aisle. This one just feels really, really good. You can also let the arms just hang, or interlace your hands, bring the arms up and over. And release. So the next pose I'm going to show is that exact same pose, but in a seated version. So taking the hips, pulling the flesh from the thighs, reach your arms up, flex your feet, spread the toes, and then exhale, hinge from your hips, lengthen, 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 and maybe you end up here. That's fine, just keep your spine tall. If you want to take it deeper, those of you who are a little more flexible, and again you're hinging from the hips rather than the waist, reach your arms forward. Maybe hands to the outsides of the feet. If you have a strap or a tie or even a bath robe tie, you can put it around the balls of the feet. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold. And you can hold here, as with the other poses, 1, 2, 3, even 5 minutes. And just continue with the breath to lengthen and exhale, fold. All right, so let's roll up and we'll come to one of my other very favorite poses, Baddha konasana. So soles of the feet together, draw your heels in, and if you find that you are more like this and a little uncomfortable, you're going to sit on the edge of a blanket or a block and elevate the hips so that your hips are above the knees. Hands around the ankles, lift through the heart center, and then exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. Hi, Mr. Louie. So we're going to inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold, inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. And rolling back up. And the last pose, that one feels so good. It's great for hips, particularly if you're doing a lot of traveling or a lot of sitting. Draw the knees together. We're going to come back for a moment into downward facing dog. And then I'm going to take you into le Pigeon. So lift your right leg up. This is down dog split. Maybe even bend your knee, roll the hip on top, and then slide your right knee in between your hands. Maybe a little hard to see, the pug in the way. So there you go. That's what it looks like. Thanks, Louie. And with your knee, some of you may find that you need a little propping underneath that right hip. A little extra support. So you could place a block, a blanket, a pillow. If this feels intense, draw your heel closer to your body. Those of you who are a bit more flexible, your right shin's going to come so that it's parallel with the front of the yoga mat. So lifting up tall. Could even stay here. The back leg, I'm going to curl the toes under and make sure that back leg's nice and straight behind you rather than kind of out to the side or knee bent. And then fold forward. So again, with this pose, you can stay here 1 to 5 minutes. It feels amazing. And then you can also release all the way down. Just breathing here. And then slowly walking the hands back towards your body. And to sweep your back leg around. And then you would do the other side. Then you can sweep that right leg back. Or you could come back into down dog, so you can do down dog split. So if you just completely kind of swing back, not a problem. It's always nice to just switch right back. But then we have to balance out by coming to down dog and left leg up and release. So you always want to make sure you get both sides equally balanced, but there's no rhyme or reason or right way or wrong way in between. Sometimes it's nice to just switch it out or come back through the downward facing dog. So those are 5 favorite poses that I like to do, and I don't always include them in a yoga practice, but I'll often just break out into them. You will often find me out on the deck of the cabin, just kind of hanging out and pitching. Alright, so I hope that these 5 poses will bring you a little dose of tranquility this week. Thank you as always for watching, and I wish you a very, very tranquil rest of your night. Namaste.
Mm-hmm.